They took you for granted, didn't they? Answered late, cancelled plans, dismissed your presence like it was optional. But in 2025, you won't chase, you won't beg, you won't explain, you'll evolve. And when silence replaces your energy, they'll feel the absence louder than your presence ever was. Let them miss you. You gave too much. You gave your time freely, your attention endlessly, your love without hesitation, and your energy like it was an infinite resource. But here's the truth no one tells you: when you hand yourself out too easily, you lose your value in the eyes of those around you. People stop appreciating what's always available. It becomes background noise, a predictable presence they no longer notice or cherish. When you show up 24/7, you rob yourself of mystery, of power. You become replaceable. The more you give without limits, the less they recognize your worth. It's not about being cold or distant, it's about preserving what makes you valuable, rare, and unforgettable. You need to understand that power is not in constant presence. Power is in the control of your availability and the choice to let yourself be missed. When you withdraw your presence strategically, you take back your power. Imagine if suddenly you stopped answering every call or replying instantly to every message. Imagine if you stopped showing up for people who only show up when they want something from you. The silence you create isn't emptiness, it's space. Space for them to realize how much your presence meant. When you're always there, people take you for granted. But when you disappear, they're forced to notice the gap you leave behind. Withdrawing access isn't about playing games or manipulating people. It's about honoring yourself and setting boundaries that protect your emotional and mental well-being. If you never say no, if you never hold back, you teach others they can take what they want without consequence. But when you start saying no, when you hold back your time, your energy, your attention, you send a clear message. Your presence is not a right, it's a privilege. Suddenly, people have to choose if they truly want to be part of your life. That choice becomes powerful because it reminds everyone that you are a limited resource, not a convenience store that's always open. Think about the energy you save when you stop giving indiscriminately. Instead of pouring yourself into people and situations that drain you, you redirect that power inward towards growth, healing, and self-love. When you reclaim your time, you give yourself room to become better, stronger, and more confident. That's magnetic. People do want the version of you that knows her worth and doesn't settle for less. You become someone who inspires respect because you respect yourself first. This shift in energy is not subtle, it commands attention without saying a word. It's the most authentic way to make them miss you, not by chasing, but by standing firm in your value. The hardest part about withdrawing isn't the act itself, it's resisting the urge to explain, justify, or plead. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to protect your peace. You don't have to justify why you're not always available or why you're selective about who you let in. People will talk. They will misunderstand. But that's their problem, not yours. The moment you stop over-explaining, you regain control over your narrative. Silence becomes your statement. Let your absence create questions they can't ignore. Let your choice to step back make them think twice about how they treated you before. When you stop chasing, they start reflecting. This isn't just about being missed, it's about changing the way people see you forever. When you choose to withdraw your access, you rewrite the story of your relationships. No longer the one who bends over backwards to be seen or heard, you become the one who commands attention through presence and absence alike. You become a force that cannot be taken for granted. And that is true power, the kind that doesn't demand validation but commands it. In 2025, don't just let them miss you, let them realize that what they lost was never replaceable. Success is the loudest revenge, but it doesn't need to scream or make noise to be noticed. True transformation happens quietly away from the eyes of those who doubted you, ignored you, or took you lightly. It's not about announcing every step you take or every milestone you hit. It's about doing the work with relentless discipline and letting the results speak for themselves. When you commit to growing in silence, you create a powerful momentum that is undeniable. People don't just see your success, they feel it. The glow you develop from consistent effort becomes a beacon that draws attention without you having to say a word. Transforming quietly means focusing on yourself without distraction, criticism, or approval from the outside world. It means waking up every day with the determination to be better than you were yesterday, regardless of who's watching. Whether it's improving your skills, your mindset, your health, or your career, this transformation is deeply personal. It doesn't need to be validated by likes, comments, or applause. The only person you answer to is yourself. This kind of growth builds an unshakable foundation, a core of confidence and strength that no external circumstance can shake. And when you finally step into the spotlight, it will be impossible to ignore the power of your quiet evolution. Silence and transformation is also a way to protect your progress from negativity and distractions. When you loudly broadcast every effort, you open yourself up to criticism, doubt, and sometimes even sabotage. But you move in silence, you keep your energy focused, your mind clear, and your goals intact. You shield yourself from the noise of opinions that don't serve you. In 2025, this quiet focus is a superpower. It's the ability to tune out the distractions and naysayers and to zero in on what really matters, your own growth. Let them wonder what you're doing. Let them be left behind while you quietly build your empire. Success achieved through quiet transformation commands respect because it is earned, not handed out. When people see you suddenly stepping into new heights, it sparks curiosity and admiration. They want to know your secret, but you don't owe them that story. Your success is your own, and it is the product of relentless dedication, discipline, and resilience. This kind of success silences doubters and leaves no room for excuses. It's proof that your worth isn't dependent on anyone's recognition, it's inherent in your commitment to yourself. The transformation is as much internal as it is external. It's about becoming the person you always knew you could be, not the one they expected. This quiet glow-up challenges the status quo because it disrupts expectations. People expect drama, noise, explanations, and justification. They expect you to explain every move and seek their approval. But when you choose to rise in silence, you flip the script. You prove that the most powerful stories don't need to be loud or performative. They just need to be real, consistent, and unstoppable. Your transformation becomes a living example of strength, resilience, and self-respect. It teaches everyone around you that true power comes from within, not from external validation or approval. Finally, quiet transformation is deeply freeing. It means you're no longer living for others' validation or chasing approval. You're living for yourself, driven by your own standards and your own vision. The process itself becomes your reward. Every small victory, every step forward, every obstacle overcome is a testament to your strength and determination. This freedom to grow on your own terms makes your success even sweeter. It's not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right. And that is a glow that no one can ever take away. Your energy is your most valuable currency, more precious than money or material things, because it fuels every part of your life, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. In 2025, protecting this energy becomes non-negotiable. You can't afford to waste it on people who drain you, who bring chaos, drama, or negativity into your space. It's not selfish to guard your peace, it's essential. When you prioritize your energy, create a boundary that keeps you focused, balanced, and strong. This boundary isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a declaration of self-worth. You're telling the world that your peace matters more than pleasing anyone else. Surrounding yourself with energy vampires, those who take without giving, who demand without appreciating, only leaves you depleted and vulnerable. These relationships can disguise themselves as friendship or love, but their true effect is exhaustion. When you constantly give to people who don't reciprocate or respect your limits, you lose yourself in the process. It's a slow erosion of your spirit, and the worst part is you often don't realize it until you're already drained. The moment you start protecting your energy, you begin to notice who truly values you and who only shows up when it's convenient. This clarity is powerful because it lets you cut ties with toxicity and focus on what nourishes your soul. Protecting your energy also means saying no more often. Saying no is not about being rude or unkind, it's about honoring what you need to thrive. When you say yes to everything and everyone, you spread yourself thin and sacrifice your well-being. But when you say no, you create space for what truly matters: your goals, your happiness, your growth. This intentional choice to protect your energy is revolutionary. It shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance, because you're not giving away your time and power to people who don't deserve it. Instead, you're investing it wisely in yourself and your future. Energy protection goes beyond just cutting out toxic people. It extends to how you manage your daily habits and environments. It means choosing peace over chaos, calm over noise, clarity over confusion. In 2025, this might mean turning off your phone more often, limiting social media consumption, or stepping away from situations that stress you out unnecessarily. You become selective about what you allow into your mind and heart. This vigilance creates a sanctuary within yourself where creativity, focus, and joy can thrive. When you protect your inner world, the outer world starts to align with your highest good. Protecting your energy is a daily practice and a lifelong commitment. It requires awareness, discipline, and courage. It means constantly checking in with yourself and asking, is this feeding my soul or draining it? When you answer honestly and take action to protect your peace, you're choosing to live fully and authentically. This choice becomes the foundation for every success and every joyful moment that follows. In a world that constantly demands your attention and energy, guarding yours fiercely is the ultimate act of self-love and self-respect. You are not here to justify your worth to anyone. The world does not owe you validation, and you do not need to explain yourself to prove your value. Often we fall into the trap of constantly defending who we are, our choices, our boundaries, like we need a permission slip to exist fully. But the truth is, your worth is inherent. It doesn't require a spotlight or a detailed explanation. When you stop over-explaining yourself, you reclaim the power to define your own narrative. You hold the pen. You decide how your story is told, and more importantly, how it is respected. Explaining your worth often comes from a place of insecurity and the fear of being misunderstood or rejected. It's exhausting to always justify why you deserve love, respect, or space. But when you stop offering those explanations, you stop handing others the control to accept or reject you based on your words alone. Your presence should be felt, not debated. People who truly see your value don't need a presentation, they recognize it without you having to spell it out. And those who don't see it, that's their loss, not a reflection of your actual worth. You don't have to educate everyone about what you bring to the table. Some people will never understand your depth, your dreams, or your struggles, and that's okay. You are not responsible for their comprehension or approval. When you accept this, you free yourself from the burden of constant explanation. Instead of spending energy convincing others, you invest that energy into becoming the person who doesn't need convincing. Your actions, your confidence, and your consistency become the loudest proof of your worth. This is how you show up unapologetically. It's important to remember that explaining your worth often dilutes it. When you constantly talk yourself up or defend your boundaries, it can come across as uncertain or desperate. Confidence isn't about talking louder or more frequently. It's about standing firm in who you are without seeking validation. True strength is quiet and unwavering. When you embody that, you become magnetic not because you shout your worth, but because you live it authentically. People are drawn to that energy. They respect it. They want to be around it. Letting go of the need to explain yourself is also about embracing silence as your response. Silence can be one of the most powerful ways to communicate. It forces others to confront their assumptions and to reflect on their treatment of you. When you stop filling every space with words, you create room for understanding, sometimes even regret. People begin to notice the absence of explanations and wonder why you've withdrawn that energy. It is in this silence that they often realize what they failed to appreciate when you were always present. Your worth is not negotiable, and it should never be up for debate. When you stop explaining yourself, you are setting a boundary that protects your energy and your peace. You teach others that your value is not something to be questioned or bargained over. This boundary isn't about arrogance or pride, it's about self-respect. It's the clear message that you know your value, and you won't waste your time convincing anyone else to see it. When you live by this principle, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters: growth, joy, and authentic connection. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. In a world obsessed with constant noise and endless explanation, silence becomes a revolutionary act. It's a way to reclaim your energy, your dignity, and your power without uttering a single word. When you choose silence, you remove yourself from the cycle of drama, arguments, and misunderstandings. You step back not out of weakness, but out of strength that recognizes when words no longer serve you. Silence holds weight. It commands attention in a way that words sometimes cannot. Choosing silence as a strategy means refusing to engage in battles that don't deserve your time or your energy. It means not reacting to provocations or trying to justify yourself to those who have already made up their minds. When people try to pull you into conflict, silence is your shield. It creates space between you and the chaos, giving you control over the narrative. This doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're deliberate. You understand that sometimes the loudest voice in the room isn't the one that wins, but the one that chooses not to speak. Silence forces others to confront their own behavior and attitudes. When you stop reacting, the spotlight shifts away from you and onto them. It creates an uncomfortable but necessary moment of reflection. People begin to question why you've withdrawn, or you're no longer participating in the drama or validation game. This absence of response can be more unsettling than any argument or confrontation because it breaks the expected pattern. They realize that your silence is not indifference but a powerful statement that you refuse to be manipulated or diminished. Using silence strategically also protects your mental and emotional health. Words can be weapons, but they can also drain you. When you choose silence, you preserve your energy and your peace. You refuse to give away your power by getting pulled into unnecessary conflicts or explanations. This level of control is empowering because it puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life. You decide when, where, and how to engage, and often choosing not to engage is the most powerful decision you can make. Silence as a strategy is not about hiding or running away. It's about standing tall and firm without the need to prove anything. It's about recognizing that your value is not dependent on others' approval or reactions. When you embrace silence, you communicate confidence and self-respect. You show that you are not easily shaken or distracted by petty conflicts. This quiet strength changes how people perceive you. They see you as someone who cannot be easily swayed or controlled, someone who owns their power with grace and intention. In the space created by silence, transformation happens. You give yourself time to reflect, to heal, and to plan your next moves without interference. Silence allows you to recalibrate and come back stronger. When people finally notice that you've gone quiet, it's not just the absence of your words they miss, it's the absence of your energy, your presence, your influence. And in that void, they realize what they took for granted. Silence becomes your greatest power move because it forces everyone to reckon with the reality that you are not theirs to command or dismiss. This is your comeback year, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. So many times we get caught in the cycle of trying to show the world what they missed, desperately seeking approval or recognition from those who never truly believed in us. But true success isn't about proving a point to others. It's about standing in your own truth and achieving your fullest potential. When you shift your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment, you tap into a power source that can't be shaken by criticism or doubt. This mindset change alone transforms your entire journey from one of reaction to one of unstoppable creation. They forgot who you are, but you didn't forget yourself. In moments of neglect or dismissal, it's easy to lose sight of your own identity and worth. But resilience is born from remembering who you truly are beneath the noise and the setbacks. When you hold on to that truth, you build an unbreakable foundation that no external circumstance can destroy. Your confidence becomes your armor. You carry yourself with a quiet assurance that says, I know my value whether you see it or not. This unshakable self-awareness is the first step in making them regret ever doubting you. Making moves that are so bold they cannot be ignored requires courage and clarity. It means setting goals that intimidate even you, stepping out of your comfort zone, and taking risks that others wouldn't dare to take. It's about relentless action driven by passion and purpose. These moves send a message louder than words ever could. You are here, you are serious, and you will not be sidelined. When you commit to boldness, you disrupt the status quo and rewrite the narrative. People who once overlooked you can no longer pretend you're invisible because your presence demands attention. Your name will echo in rooms you've never entered, not because you chased recognition, but because your reputation precedes you. Reputation is the silent currency of influence. It's built on consistent integrity, excellence, and the way you carry yourself in every space you occupy. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, your impact naturally expands beyond your immediate circle. Word spreads. Doors open. Opportunities arise. You become a force that transcends geography, status, and expectation. This kind of influence is earned, not given, and it lasts far longer than any fleeting approval. You don't need closure to move forward, you need elevation. Holding on to the past, whether it's grudges, regrets, or unresolved conflicts, only weighs you down. Real power comes from rising above all that, from in your vision. Elevation means looking beyond the small disappointments and focusing on the bigger picture of who you're becoming. It's about setting your sights higher and refusing to be tethered by the limitations others try to impose on you. When you elevate, you step into a space where the past no longer controls your story and your future shines with limitless possibility. In 2025, make them regret sleeping on you, not through bitterness or resentment, but through undeniable success and unshakable confidence. Let your life be the living proof of what happens when someone refuses to settle or be sidelined. Let your accomplishments, your peace, and your joy be the message that resonates far louder than any words of revenge or rishin. The greatest comeback isn't about tearing others down, it's about rising so high that their doubt becomes irrelevant. This year, choose elevation over retaliation, growth over grudges, and let your journey be the ultimate answer to anyone who ever underestimated you. Remember, the power to be missed, to be respected, and to be truly seen lies within you. When you hold your value with unwavering confidence, protect your energy fiercely, and rise quietly yet boldly, you become unforgettable not because you demand attention, but because you embody it. Let 2025 be the year you rewrite your story on your own terms, leaving behind those who fail to recognize your worth, and stepping fully into the greatness you were always meant to claim. This is your moment. Own it.